Hi all.
Hej Morten.
Eftermiddag.
Yes, good afternoon, everybody. And I think we have still a few people joining, but we are quite a crowd here already. I would like to welcome you to this webinar on district heating and how to advance your competencies within district heating. I am Mikkel Hansen. I'm the CEO of Aprendio, and I would very much like to welcome you all here to this webinar. First of all, we have an agenda here for the next 45 minutes. First, we will be having an introduction to the Energy and Climate Academy by Torben Kirkegaard. And then our chief lecturer, Morten Duedahl, will be on the scene to present his experiences and some topics around district heating. Then Torben will be back again going through the course structure and the course of district heating that we offer on the Energy and Climate Academy on Aprendio. And then I'll demonstrate the learning platform and also how to get access and procure access to the course. And then wrapping up, we will have Milan Jungic on the scene, where he will also take us through his presentation. And both Milan and Morten are instructors and lecturers on the course. We will wrap up with a Q&A session where you can collect all your questions you might have to this knowledgeable team here, and I'll try best possible to relay them. You can write it on the Q&A section here in the meeting. And we will also give you the discount code where you will be eligible for 25% rebate for the next 7 days for getting access to the course. So more about that later. Just as a small introductory note from my side, I have a maritime background, so district heating for me is basically when you go into your living room and you turn up the heat. And as being born and raised here in Denmark, this was also what we used to do in the small provincial town that I grew up. So basically a convenience. Convenience. You don't need to have a big oil-fired boiler in the basement. It was just something that was available for you. So I think the interesting thing here is actually now we are taking this convenience into one of the major solutions for the green transition. And this is what we are going to hear about in the next 45 minutes. So I would like to give the floor to Torben from the Energy and Climate Academy.
Yeah, thank you, Mikkel. Yes, I'll just give you a short introduction to the Energy and Climate Academy. We were founded in 2013, so actually last month we had our 10 years anniversary. We founded it that time because we believed that the green transition could be supported by transfer of knowledge and experience. And since we have been working in this area here in Denmark for many years, we focused on that and the strong positions that Denmark have here. And district heating is one of them. Another is offshore wind. We have something about wave energy. We have about integrated energy systems. So what characterizes all our courses are that it is curated content, which means that there is no promotion from companies or anybody that would like to promote their solutions or products. We have two kinds of courses. We have in-person courses. Before the COVID situation, we only had that. But then all that, we couldn't send our teachers outside Denmark. We couldn't have people coming into Denmark. So we decided to change onto an online learning platform where we converted some of our traditional courses to this way of teaching. It's not the same, but it actually gives a lot of advantages, which we will talk about later. Our lecturers are all industry specialists and university professors, people coming from organizations. So it's people that work in this area every day. So it's not only, of course, they have a lot of theoretical knowledge, but they also all have a technical touch and technical experience. Since last year, summer last year, we made a partnership with Aprendio. So Aprendio is taking care of all the learning platform, the technology behind that, the subtitles and things we'll get into later. So this is our business model. You can say our motto is that the green transition must be based on knowledge and experience, and not on feelings or what people would like or not would like. So we have contact to universities, academies, organizations, private, public companies, and together with them, we put together the training courses. In Energy and Climate Academy, our job is then to take care of the promotion, the administration, all the things that these specialists don't want to work with. So we take care of that, and we have, and then we go out to the whole world and offering our courses. So at this point, we have had customers from 17 different countries. We have had from China, from USA, from South America, but most of them are coming here from Europe. We have public companies, for example, like ministries. You can see here we have the Department of Energy and Environment in the USA as a customer, but we also have Ørsted, Danfoss, Vestas, some of the big players, but also most of our participants. They come from a little bit smaller companies, but they are still interested in to learn about these new technologies. For example, we have had customers from the Ceylon Electricity Board. It's in Sri Lanka. They were going to build the first offshore wind farm out there, and then they sent quite a lot of engineers to participate in our courses. So I think that'll be all from me now, but I'll be here later on also telling you a little bit more about the course content. So back to you, Mikkel.
Thank you so much, Torben, and thanks for the introduction and overview of what the Energy and Climate Academy does. It's really important that you focus on the green skills needed for our whole green transition. So a big applause to your effort in doing this work for the past 10 plus years. Then I would like to give the floor to you, Morten Duedahl, our chief lecturer on this course.
Mikkel, thank you very much. Morten Duedahl, that's me. I'm from Danish Board of District Heating, where I'm the business development manager. Mikkel, can you give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen? You can. Thank you very much. I won't dwell too much on the Danish Board of District Heating. We are here to create a better world where companies, cities, and people benefit from sustainable district energy. We are an old organization, we are a trade organization, we are a membership organization, and then we publish what is probably the best international district heating magazine in the world, called Hot Cool. And for the ones who haven't heard the joke before, we're also the only international district heating magazine. I will try to talk a little bit about what district heating is, and I'll try to talk a little bit about what drove it and what it is in Denmark. What is district heating? Well, for many of you, some of you I can see on the list already know what district heating is, but I'll start out saying it's not a technically complicated thing. Of course, if you go into detail and are an engineer, it will be complicated. But in reality, district heating is a way to take heat you can't use anywhere else, that is out here on the left-hand side of my picture, put it into some pipes and pump it to places where that heat has a value, and that's the right-hand side. And the value is, of course, if you need to heat buildings or maybe processes, so it can be in commercial buildings, it can be in industries, and it can be residential. In Denmark, it is very much residential and commercial. So it's a little bit like your own gas boiler system, but the size of Copenhagen, or larger even. It's a really well-proven technology. It works, no doubt about it. Hot water in pipes will flow where you pump it, and it will stay hot. And it's also a part, what is district heating? It's also a part of moving us towards a fossil-free, smart energy system. And the picture you see here is that we can add any kind of heat sources, that is the top, and pump it to any kind of building, and that is the bottom. And you see in the middle, we have gas CHP. I already now crossed it out because we don't want that in the future, but there's nothing wrong in starting with gas CHP. We started with coal in Denmark. Over time, you can change it by just changing one place instead of going out to all the building and all the households in the bottom part of the picture. So it's also a fossil-free smart energy system. If we then take a look to Denmark, some numbers first. These are a bit outdated, but I like the numbers here because half of the heat demand in Denmark is covered by district heating. Half, 2/3 of all households are covered by district heating in Denmark. That number is definitely going up. We are looking at going towards 75% now. That's a lot. If you look at the major cities like Copenhagen, Aarhus, all the major cities in Denmark, it is as close to 100% as you can get. Copenhagen is 98. Some say 99, doesn't matter. And today we have around 400 networks organized in 350 district heating companies. And it's interesting because they are competitive price-wise to the alternative, all of them, nearly all of them, I should say. Here you have a picture of the Copenhagen system to the right. From Køge down in the south, up north, it's 50 kilometer-ish. From east to west, it's 40 kilometers. It is one big integrated system. And on the left, you have the very first 1903 picture of the waste incineration in the middle of Copenhagen. It's not functioning anymore. It's just a picture. I also said that it is a part of the sustainable smart energy future. Here we have a picture of the heat sources for district heating used in Denmark. And the bottom one, including the pinkish one, is the fossil part of it. You will see that pink will disappear, black will disappear, almost gray will disappear over time. That is the bottom part. We simply take out the fossil fuel step by step by step. So the 2/3 of Danish district heating that is renewable, that number will grow and grow and grow and grow. And by 2035, we will be very close to 100% renewable. What do we put in instead? We put in heat pumps. That's the blue one in the top. We will add a lot of electricity to our system, mainly through heat pumps. And then a little bit of geothermal and other things. And you will notice that biomass is there. There are two important messages in this picture. One is we go sustainable. That's what you see directly. The other one is, and that's the top bar. This one up here. It shows that demand for district heating, we expect that to increase over the time slightly. It's not a dramatic increase. But what is more important is it will not go down. People say, well, we will insulate our homes if things will happen. Yes, we will, and we should. We definitely should. But it will not make a situation where we will use less district heating. It's a business that is here to stay. How did it happen? 73, we had a wake-up call. The first oil crisis, then in 79, the second oil crisis, and then, trust me, things started to happen in Denmark because we were 100%, 98% dependent on imported oil and coal, and we had a very energy efficient use of our energy. And then we need to do something. What did we do? we threw in a lot of legislation, we threw in a lot of incentives to support a development where we got rid of the import dependency, and then we had a very clear business model. I will not talk about all the legislation and incentives because that is back in time and it's extremely Denmark specific, but the business model, I'll come back to that in a second. That drove us there. I will say there was also one other thing, planning. We made sure through our planning that we provided investor protection, we provided consumer protection, we made it citywide. We do not talk about small islands. We made citywide approaches. We ensured local leadership. We had the zoning, and we definitely had a long-term perspective. That is what good planning does, and it makes it easier to do district heating. That is also a part of it. Okay, in the 70s, energy crisis. What do we have today? Now we doubled it up. We have two crises. We have a climate crisis. We don't talk as much about it these months, but we have an energy crisis. So the next slide, you think I've just repeated the three previous slides, but I didn't. Well, I did, but actually, this is a new wake-up call. We need consistent energy policy. We need long-term planning, and we need, planning to make district heating a success. That goes for Denmark. It goes for everywhere. And what are the developments we see in the district heating world today? Besides the need for municipalities and states to do something, to put in framework conditions, there are a lot of things going on. The power to X and hydrogen. We don't heat homes with hydrogen. That would be a bad idea. I'm not saying stupid, I'm just saying bad idea. But we need hydrogen because it gives us a lot of heat. We will see a lot of electrification. We will see a lot of digitalization. Storage will become increasingly important because then we can disrupt the time of production with the time of consumption, and we can let other factors decide when we will produce heat. This is, by the way, a storage, only 70,000 cubic meters. It's not very big, but you will notice that down here, there's a man. It gives you a little bit of an example of how large this storage is. We will see an opportunity to get a lot of industrial surplus heat collected. And then I think in general, we will talk a lot about efficiency, both in buildings, in the network, in the heat production, in the storage production. So it's still an industry that is going on. So my last comment is gas and oil is obsolete. And district heating is the only solution in cities. We can discuss that at the final webinar when you've been looking at all the training courses. I'm just saying that's the way it is. Let's face it and let's work on that. If you then, I'm just checking time, Mikkel. I have, I guess, 1 more minute. If we look at a Danish district heating company, what is special about that is it has a democratic ownership. It's owned by the end users. That is a way to give the owners, the end users, the customers, power over the company, because they can't go and buy heat anywhere else. So we have given them that kind of ownership power. It's also not for profit. That is debated heavily during the training courses. So have a look there. We will also see that a Danish district heating company is in charge of the whole value chain. In charge of is not the same as having ownership of everything, but they manage and control it somehow. And then in general, especially the companies I work with, are professional commercial acting organizations. When you get into the program, Torben offers here, you will meet Jesper. I think you will all find that he is a professional and commercial acting managing director of a district heating company. And with that, I'll just say thank you, and you're always welcome to contact me. Mikkel, it's all yours.
Yes, thank you so much, and super interesting, Morten, and also both taking us through the history and using these historical learnings as one solution and a very important solution in cities for the future. Thank you so much for that. And then I would like to invite Torben back in, because you'll give us an overview of the course, the modules, and the content.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, as I said earlier, we have developed this program together with Morten and a lot of other very clever guys and girls. So what we have done is we start with an introduction and welcome webinar. That's actually what we are having right now, where we will talk a little bit about the content, show you the learning platform. And then we have divided the different lessons into sections. So we have a lesson called Planning and Development. It's about 1.5 hours. And since nobody wants to sit and watch a video for 1.5 hours, we have cut it up into small parts, 10 to 15 minutes, covering special subjects within this area. So altogether, we have 11 lessons with different topics. We have how to produce district heating. We have something about the pipe systems, where we will look into the different possibilities and advantages with the new insulated pipe systems. We have about pumps and controls. How can you do that? We have something about heat pumps related to district heating. We talk about the end users, which is the customers actually. How do we talk to them? How do we measure them, their consumption? We have something where we really look out into the future. What is going to happen? What can we foresee? Morten will have a lesson about business models and stakeholder engagement, a little, as he has presented a little bit of here. We will go through geothermal energy and district heating. We are right now developing a module about power to X and district heating. We have something about hydrogen. How would that be used in district heating? It's a podcast. All the others are small videos. And then we have a site visit to one of the biggest district heating companies in Denmark, where we use the whole day walking around, which means actually you can sit at home or at your job and have a very good impression of what's happening, how have they done it out in the real world. And we have also made 15 short videos where we visit different companies. We visit a private household, all with people that are engaged in the district heating area and has a lot to offer. And then we have a wrap-up and Q&A webinar where Morten will participate. We will have Jesper Møller Larsen, one of the really heavy guys in district heating. So the advantages here, you can watch it whenever you want to. It's in English. All the slides are in English. We will send you all the slides before the course. You can put on English subtitles if you like to. And if you want to say, I would like Spanish subtitles, then we can arrange that also. So we can actually offer you subtitles in 44 different languages, including Chinese, 2 different Chinese versions. So there is a lot of reason to join this, but the course is for people who are entering the district heating business or perhaps have been there 1, 2, 3 years. It's not for people who have been working in this area for many, many years and who has been know a lot about the different issues here. So this is a very thorough, effective way to kickstart your knowledge about district heating. Okay, Mikkel, I think that's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, muchas gracias, Torben.
Nada.
Very, very interesting, and it's a very comprehensive program, definitely. Now it's my turn, and I will just like to give you all a small tour of the shop and learning platform. You should be able to see it here. So basically, what you will see here in a minute is first the shop, which is found on shop.aprendio.io, where you can go and find the Energy and Climate Academy as one of our training providers. Here as the different courses that Torben and his academy is providing. If we select the district heating course, you can see here the description of the district heating course. We have more about the various modules and the learning objectives. Target group, you have also later information about the lectures. See, there's a long list of very insightful people from the business. And here you have an overview of the various modules, and you're actually also able to purchase access to one specific module or a number of modules if they are the interest you have, or you can buy the full package. So when you purchase a module, you put it in your cart. If you are a company in the EU, you have the opportunity to put in your VAT ID and get the VAT deduction at checkout. And then after signing in, you have the opportunity to pay with various sources, credit card, PayPal, invoice, etc. So when you have paid, what we will provide you with is the access to the course itself. That comes on the see the learning platform. 1 second here. Sorry, I just have an error in the video, so I'll just, if you will excuse me for 1 second, I'll go directly into the learning platform instead. So now you get the online experience instead of here. So here we are in the learning platform. So when you enroll, you have the access to a number of courses. So for example, I can take this module here, and then I will be able to get access to the specific module that he is Jacob, that he has been preparing. And I will then have the opportunity to run this module and agreements the topics that he's discussing, and it's at a very, very high level. And I've really been personally also positively surprised to see the level of the content that is available in the platform. In addition to having the access on the learning platform, we also provide a mobile app, and on the mobile app you have the same material available. You can even download it to your mobile app offline if you have a plane travel, and you can then consume the content and see the various videos and content as you go. In addition to this, we also provide a way of interacting with the lecturers. So we have an online Q&A forum where you can then ask questions to the lecturers about specific topics addressed, or you can take them at the closing webinar that's taking place at the end of the course. So without further ado, this was just the introduction of the shop and the learning platform. And now I'd actually like to invite Milan on the stage. And Milan is also one of the lecturers who will then be presenting on the module. Milan, it's all yours.
Thank you. And hello to everyone. Just please give me a quick thumbs up if you can see the screen. All good? Super. Okay, so hi everyone, and thank you for having me here. As I was already introduced, I'm Milan. I'm coming from Slovenia, and I'm working in Danfoss District Energy Division. Now, why, or the reason why for us in Danfoss District Energy is in focus is because we really believe that it's the most sustainable approach to mitigate climate changes and to improve energy efficiency. As a company, we aspire to provide optimization solutions for optimal temperature control for both primary, that is the district heating or district energy network side, as for the secondary, for the building side. If you look, let me just move my pointer to the laser. So if we look at what is actually characterizing the latest generation of district energy, today we see the trends that are moving district energy for being as traditionally they were basically single source, today are multi-source. So we see that we have networks where we are trying to connect much more smaller sources into renewable energy sources and also waste heat sources that are basically abundantly lying around in urban areas. So moving from single source to multi-source. We are moving, as already mentioned, from fossil fuels, which today still, by the way, represent majority of the heat generation, to renewable energy. To achieve this, of course, we have to transform our networks even further, and we are doing this by moving the networks from high temperature, historically starting in 1900, basically 200 degrees. Today, we are going down to 70, 60, or if we talk about fifth generation networks, even lower temperatures between 30 and 40 degrees. Why this is important? Lower temperature networks are actually open or much more flexible to use more of the waste heat potential that we have available in urban areas, like waste heat from supermarkets, waste heat from industry, utilizing geothermal energy, utilizing renewable sources, or indirect renewable energy like electricity produced by, for instance, wind, and then converted into the heat by heat pumps. Now, finally, basically, I've been working in district energy for latest 19 years, and in last 5 to 7 years, district energy is now finally getting the attention it deserves, basically across EU, and is being recognized as one of the pillars to decarbonize heating and cooling in Europe. But the challenge here is that heating our buildings today is responsible for more than 30% of the EU's final energy consumption, and still today, more than 70% of that is fossil fuel-based. In 2020, the Aalborg University in Denmark revised the heat roadmap, created a new heat roadmap Europe report, and this report clearly shows that district energy combined with energy efficiency, so what also Morten already mentioned, lowering the energy demand in the buildings, but also bringing that demand from from the individual heating sources to the district energy, and then actually combining all of the energy sector, utilizing sector integration. This is the key to achieve the cost-effective decarbonization. And by this study, by 2050, we should be able to cover 50% of the heating demand by district heating. Now, to achieve this, to realize this 50% district heating potential, it means that by 2050, we need to build 21,500 new district heating systems. And I want you to remember this number until the next slide. And important factor here is also that majority of these new systems will be built actually here around 2030 up to 2035. So 16,500 of these new systems that we will build will be built here. Of course, to achieve this, we need the right policy framework. Conditions need to be met, and EU is doing a lot on that topic. Of course, it still can be done more. But more importantly, to say here today, if you who are listening to these lectures, you are most likely also considering if district energy should be part of your professional future. The answer here is yes. District energy is a growing sector. We will need smart people. We will need much more hands-on to achieve this decarbonization in Europe that we are aspiring for. But going back to this number 21,500, you know, this study was done in 2020, and then this happened. We saw the crisis with Ukraine, Russia war, Russia invading Ukraine, and as a consequence of this, Europe is basically suffering the gas crisis, right? So today, converting individual heating systems to district heating has now become even more interesting than in 2020 when this study was prepared and it told us that we need to build 21,500 new systems, and that majority of these need to be built between 2035. So it will definitely move even faster. And one of the examples whole Europe has to can look up to is basically Denmark. And I think it was already clear from Morten's presentation in terms of district energy. Denmark is basically here the leading country. Today, district energy in Denmark covers 65% of heating, cooling requirements. And after this political war crisis in Europe, the Danish government now plans to transfer 30 to 50% of this remaining part that is not today heated by district heating to the district energy by 2028. So it will mean probably more than 80% of Danish heat demand will be covered by district heating before 2030. Now, if we compare us globally, only 8% of the global heating needs are covered by district heating. If you look at EU, it's around 12%. So a lot of work to be done. Again, a growing, an interesting segment. We need smart people. There is a huge potential for growth, business growth, personal growth, of course. So please consider district energy to be part of your future because we basically need you. But, you know, many people, when they think about district energy, they think, you know, this is just pipes, boilers, and valves. It's not true. Basically, digital modern technology is entering district energy. And here, 3 more slides where I just want to show you actually what we are developing also in that sense in Danfoss. And we are by far not the only one. If you look around at all the companies that are working in district energy, they are developing today intelligent solutions. So district energy is not anymore a home just for mechanical engineers, but also for electrical engineers, mechatronical engineers, software engineers, for all the modern technology that today is basically available. One of the biggest challenges in district energy is differential temperature. That's the difference between the supply and return temperature in the pipes, right? And this difference, everybody who works, this challenge, everybody who works in district energy knows is actually coming from the building. So operators, district energy operators, have very little influence to manage this issue because it's basically depending on this how well or efficient the secondary side, the building side heating system is performing. But this issue is causing challenges on the networks and on the boilers. It's reducing, increasing heat losses in the network. It's because of this we need to have higher flow rates because of poor delta T, of course, not because of the optimized, right? And poor delta T limits us in using waste heat. On the source side, poor delta T is lowering efficiency of gas condenser boilers, and when we are using heat pumps, it's also lowering COP. So optimizing this point, it's increasing all of these points. And as I mentioned, the problem is coming from the secondary side, from the improperly balanced and commissioned secondary side systems. This is why we in Danfoss are developing a project, what we call Danfoss Title. It's a digital twin of a substation. It's actually a solution that automatically it's running in cloud. and it's automatically based on the data it gets from the field, on the measurements, and on the asset data from the substation heat transfer unit. It's automatically and continuously optimizing the PI or the control parameters of the substation. So if you look at the classical substations, typically when we do commissioning for the first time, installer needs to open these valves, fill in secondary side, start pumps. He needs to open the control valve, set differential pressure controller. This is all done manually. Then based on his experience, he's setting the PI parameters, neutral zone in the electronic controllers, and running time of the motorized control valves. When we look at the data that we have in our monitoring system, it's quite clear that this is an issue because installers are not doing majority of these tasks. Most of these controllers of the substations, they are simply left to run on a default settings, which are good enough, but of course far from being optimal. And here, basically the digital twin technology, the intelligent technology can help us because it's basically allowing us that by executing an algorithm, by measuring the data in the substation continuously, by also using the asset data from all the components, from the differential pressure actuator, flow control actuator, heat meter, we are basically able to use this intelligent technology to continuously optimize the running parameters of the substation, therefore improving differential temperature, improving efficiency of the heat transfer, all in all, improving reliability and the resilience of the entire network. And this is just a start, of course, because when you have a digital twin, you compare it with a real system, you can also see when the performance of the real system is starting to shift away from how it should perform, shown by the digital twin, you know that there is something wrong. And this is actually where the magic starts happen, because then we are starting to talk about predictive maintenance, starting to basically foresee issues just by some signs that are starting to happening in the system. So the future is bright for different kind of.
Sounds very interesting, Milan.
Exactly. And this is actually my last slide. So I know, Mikkel, this was a call to finish. So,
but I think it's a good cliffhanger for people to really go in and hear what you have on your heart in the course.
Super. So thank you for the attention, and I'm giving the word back to you, Mikkel.
Thank you so much, and super interesting, and really also giving us a new angle also to what's actually the potential of the district heating, district energy, unlocking this with digital technologies. Yeah. First, I would just like to put your attention to the chat. My colleague Victoria has shared a rebate code to the course that's valid for the next 7 days. I will also mention that right after the course, we will share the recording also with a discount code to every participant here, so you have both the opportunity to get the discount code there and also review the webinar once more. We just have time for a question or two. We have quite a good crowd here. So, but if there's somebody wanting to bring up a question, please prepare it. And then maybe Milan, I just like to hear maybe from you or maybe Morten, because we talk about district heating. Morten, you also mentioned hot and cold, and Milan, you mentioned district energy as well. So the competencies you gain on the course, of course, circulates around district heating, but can we bridge that to district cooling, because that's also has a lot of potential, maybe not as developed as district heating yet? Milan,
yeah, I would say definitely. I mean, if you look at the district heating and the demand, right, which is coming mainly in the winter time, and then in the summer time we have the demand for cooling, right? If we want to have a continuous equal demand, it means that these two segments needs to come closer together. This is why today we are talking about district energy, not just by district heating and district cooling separately. Of course, in reality, we have challenges to implement this, especially because of how the secondary side of the buildings is set up, right? You cannot cool with the radiators, but with the new buildings, this is already basically possible to bring in utilizing basically common infrastructure. And as the renovations of the buildings will continue, this will be more and more possible. And also on the primary side now, it's much more easier than in the past, because here now we are talking about the heat pumps, we are talking about waste heat, we can talk about also waste cold, So these sources are much more flexible also to be used in the district cooling part of the district energy.
Thanks. Morten, you would also like to?
Just a short comment while you're typing your questions in the chat, the rest of you. Yes, I showed the picture with how renewable Danish district heating is, and there I also spent a bit of time on showing that district heating demand will go up slightly. If I made a similar graph for cooling, you would find that today that demand is definitely much smaller, but the growth rate in heating, as I showed, was very little. But the growth rate in cooling is like really crazy. We have climate change. We have a lot of increased demand for comfort, and we see the cities growing, and it is in the cities we see it. My expectation is that the next big step in cooling will be where we can utilize heat pumps, both to heat water, and during the summer, do we need heating? Yes, we do. We all need our morning shower, especially our teenagers does that. They take long showers. We need that. And then we can use the cooling in the summertime for cooling down our offices and our factories, and maybe even in some areas like where it's really warm. Saudi Arabia is very famous for cooling. There it is also for ordinary housing units.
Cool. Thank you very much for your answers.
Cool.
Cool. All right. I think there's no further questions, and I would just like to wrap up. First of all, I would like to thank you presenters, so Milan, Morten, and Torben, for coming here and take the floor. Super interesting, and I should also highlight that again. It's technologies that actually we need for our green transition, and I think you described pretty well the potential of district energy as a whole, what that actually can help us in reaching the climate goal, and how busy we actually are with the new networks, plants, installations that needs to be done. So that actually requires people in order to do this. So this is why we're here. And I also hope that you participating have gained a lot of insight from this. And we will, of course, recommend you to take a look at the course, use the discount code within the 7 days, and also join with these gentlemen in getting on the experience train of district energy and district heating. That's all for today. You'll have an email from us in a short while. I would like to wish you all a very nice weekend, and thank you for now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice weekend, everyone.